Ring Mistress, I have good news and bad news. I presume you will want the good news first. You know me all too well, Giggles. What do you got for me? You have fan mail. Lots of it, in fact. Your newest visitor drew in quite the crowd. Oh wow, that's great! Among them, someone requested you speak on an Inquisitor Eisenhorn. Apparently he's from... Oh, I know that guy. Well, more so he owes me a favor. Long story involving a sister of battle and a frankly absurd amount of balloon animals. I don't really need to get into it right now. Right. Well, I suggest you get right onto it. Wait, what's the bad news? You are aware of the series of murders that occurred on Ravnica, correct? The murders at Karlov Manor? Yeah, I've heard of them, yeah. I'm not quite sure how to tell you this. You're a suspect. I heard they're sending an investigator soon. Wait, what? How? Oh, I think I hear my kids are whistling. I really must get to that. Good luck, Ring Mistress. Pop, cheerio, and all that. How would I even... Oh, hi. Good evening, darlings and deviants. My name is Lucy, and I'm just a little loony. I've recently been put under investigation for a murder that I didn't even commit, and I wasn't even on the same plane of, and frankly, that's par for the course around here. Regardless, I'll need someone to help me clear my name. Unfortunately, I'm running out of favors, so I'm going to call up an Inquisitor of the Imperium of Man, Inquisitor Eisenhorn. While I wait for him to return my calls, how about we look at him as a commander? After all, if he can investigate enough, maybe he'll be able to find enough clues to get me out of this. So, let's take a look at Inquisitor Eisenhorn. Without further ado, let's start the show. So, who is this interstellar sleuther? Inquisitor Eisenhorn is 2, a blue and a black, for a 2/3 legendary human inquisitor with 2 abilities. The first is you reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. If you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, you make Cherubale, a legendary 4/4 black human creature token with flying. He also has the ability that, whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you investigate that many times. That many is very important here. When I first read Eisenhorn, I thought he only investigated every time he dealt damage. But being able to buff his power and investigate a bunch of times is actually really cool and very powerful. But how do we make that even more powerful? First, what is Investigate to begin with? Investigate is a mechanic from Shadows of Innistrad, the first return to the scary horror plane, and it lets you make a token artifact that you can pay 2 mana and sacrifice the clue to draw a card. Notably, it's not like food or treasures in that you don't need to tap them to activate the ability. Considering Investigate as a mechanic in the upcoming Murders at Karlov Manor set, you'll be seeing quite a bit of it in the upcoming days. There's plenty of ways to make clues give you some awesome benefits, but I think the most important ones for us are cards that help Inquisitor Eisenhorn get through for damage. Here's some ways we can help him slip through the cracks. Martha Jones is 2 and a blue for a 3/2 human cleric with Woman Who Walked the Earth. When Martha Jones enters the battlefield, you investigate, so we have a little bit of extra clue generation off to the side. She also has the ability to, whenever you sacrifice a clue, make herself and up to 1 other target creature unable to be blocked this turn, which, hey, we can do that to Inquisitor Eisenhorn. She's also a companion, but the doctor's not here right now. I hear he's doing other stuff right now. Martha helps us use these clues to get in with Eisenhorn to deal damage, make more clues, and just keep this engine a-going. Senator Peacock from the new Clue Magic board game thing. We don't really have that many details on it, but it looks pretty sweet, honestly. She's also a massive boon to this strategy. She's 3 and 2 blue for a 3/4 legendary human advisor with artifacts you control are clues in addition to their other types, and have the clue ability to pay 2, sacrifice this artifact, and draw a card. It's not super relevant to what we're doing here, but it helps our ramp artifacts turn into card draw later in the game if they need be. And if we have any additional tokens like treasures, food, anything like that, we can also make those draw as cards. She also has, whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Again, redundancy is great, and having these sorts of effects to help us get Eisenhorn through is fantastic. There's plenty more effects that make it hard for our opponents to block Eisenhorn, but how do we make these clues into something resembling a threat? Well, it sort of depends on how powerful you want your deck to be. As always, I advocate for decks that are a bit less powerful, but sometimes it's fun to be a villain. So, let's set up our Doomsday device. Time Sieve is a blue and a black red artifact that you can tap and sacrifice 5 other artifacts in order to take an extra turn. Combine this, Eisenhorn, and a card called Academy Manufacturer, a 3 mana 1/3 assembly worker that makes a food token and a treasure token whenever the Inquisitor investigates, and that's infinite turns. Combine that with either of the 2 girls that we talked about before, Or Delphian Braze, a 2 and a black for an enchantment that lets a creature gain Shadow for 2 black mana. Shadow is basically unblockable, it's like flying but a little bit different. And you have infinite turns and technically infinite mana since you can save a treasure token every time you do this loop. So infinite turns is a little bit too much for you, I can understand that. So let's hit our opponents for 1,000,000 and make 1,000,000 clues instead. Cranial Plating and Nettle Cyst are both artifact equipment spells that give your equipped creature buffs for each artifact or enchantment in Nettle Cyst's case you have on the battlefield. If you strap Eisenhorn with both of these, you get even more artifacts, leading to a massive attack power Inquisitor. And if the board gets a bit bogged down, you don't have any of your unblockable effects, you can try strapping these onto Cherubale to get in with flying damage. But what if we have a bunch of clues and no creatures to suit our stuff up to? Well, if we're left with a lot of clues and no one to piece them together, we're going to need to find a way to solve the case ourselves. Heavengold Laboratory is a land that taps for colorless and lets us tap it and 4 mana to investigate. Something to spend our mana on is okay, but what we care about is the second ability. At the beginning of your instep, if you sacrifice 3 or more creatures this turn, transform Heavengold Laboratory. Well, I put it on here so it's gotta transform into something. Oh my god, what is that? What is that? What is that? What's that on its hand? Ignoring the horrifying monstrosity and the nightmares I'll be having for the next week, we get Heavengold Mystery. When it flips, we get to reanimate a creature from our graveyard. We'll be playing a lot of support creatures in this deck, so being able to bring them back by just sacrificing some clues, something we already want to do anyway, makes this a fantastic inclusion. It flips back if the creature we reanimate dies, but hey, that just means we can flip it again. It's not like the creature gets exiled or anything. And not like I wouldn't want to after seeing that. One last card I want to make note of due to our commander's blue and black color identity is Ring Sight. It's 1, a blue and a black for a sorcery that says, first off, that the ring tempts you. The ring mechanic from Lord of the Rings is, quite frankly, a lot, and I don't really want to have to cover it right now. But notably, the first ability makes it hard for our opponents to block Eisenhorn because it says, creatures you control with greater power than this creature can't block it. Plus, it lets us tutor for any colored card in our deck as long as Eisenhorn is in play. This card is way underrated in blue and black decks in my opinion, considering how often people want to have their commanders in play. Check this card out if you're playing Eisenhorn, but honestly, if you're playing anything with blue and black in its color identity, give it a shot. All in all, I think Eisenhorn is a really interesting commander. Provides a lot of synergy with clue tokens, has a lot of flexibility in how he can be built, and clue tokens as a mechanic is something that sees a lot of support every so often, so you always have a new, interesting choice when you're looking at building your deck. But hey, what do you think? Will Inquisitor Eisenhorn solve the case, or do you have another daring detective in mind when building around clues? Please let me know and give me their number, please. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, check out this playlist. I talk about magic a lot. As always, thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, au revoir!